No, we're the technology company. So I don't have the updated stats for 2010. Obviously, we just got into 2011, but in 2009, we were a $14 billion company, almost 42,000 employees in over 80 countries. We've been around for just over 30 years now. And I always like to point out that we've invested at least $1 billion over the last 20 years in R&D. And so really, we're committed to innovation, having all the solutions that our customers need and products to store, protect, manage, secure their information, and to leverage that information. A lot of people don't know this. The presentation right after this was on NDG and VMware, and EMC actually acquired VMware and the majority share of VMware. We also own RSA, the security company, if a lot of you are involved in that. So we probably acquired roughly 40 companies in the last 8 to 10 years. So not just storage, that's hardware and software, so it's kind of termed information infrastructure. We've been working with IDC over the last, this will be the 4th year upcoming, to do a study on the growth of digital information and how fast it's growing. When we think of that, it's not just the growth of it, but the replication of that information, right? I always liken, like, you send a picture to 5 friends, it's 1 meg. Well, it's not just 5 megs, right? Because it's on your local machine, and it's being backed up on your machine, and now you send it over the internet, and it's on those people's local machines, and their replicated copies, right? So it's much larger than people imagine. And so in 2009, it was 0.8 zettabytes, and 1 zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. And by 2020, it'll be 35.2 zettabytes. So it's not slowing down. I mean, the economy may have been struggling over the last few years, but the growth of digital information by no means is struggling. It's only getting larger. And actually, I think they predict by 2020 about a third of this information will live in the cloud. So obviously, a lot of you are familiar with cloud computing and how we're moving to IT as a service. Kind of crazy. And what's driving that digital explosion? Well, obviously Web 2.0 applications, right? Just a huge amount of volume and data there, YouTube, right? I mean, all the videos are uploaded, pictures, Facebook, you name it. Ubiquitous content generating devices. The longer data retention periods and just regulations around how long you have to store data for, how long you have to be able to reproduce it. It's become very large, and lawsuits because companies are so reliant on that electronically stored information. And obviously, secure collaboration, right? We're a digital workforce, so I mean, I would be shocked if most of us just work in one place. I mean, I flew here, I'm at Starbucks, I'm here today. I mean, wherever it is I'm working, and I want to know that I'm securely connected to my, my company's intranet, and I'm the person they say I am, and only I can access that data. And then EMC has been doing a survey for the last, this will be our 4th upcoming year, to about 1,400 IT and storage managers, and our goal is to say, how are you handling this growth of digital information? What are your biggest challenges? What are you most faced with? And always the top of the list has been managing your storage growth, right? And on the list, the moving positions have been designing, deploying, and managing backup and recovery and disaster recovery. And no surprise this year, for the first year, was designing, deploying, and managing storage in a virtualized server environment, right? So with the high adoption of server virtualization for data mobility, and a lot of things is dependent on shared storage. So that's where that comes into play. And the one I find most professors are interested in is the lack of skilled storage professionals. Okay, there just are a lot of people that know this topic. And that has been because traditionally when we look at computer science and CIS and IT programs at both 2- and 4-year in universities, and most of them are covering operating system servers, applications, databases, and networks, but they're not typically covering the information storage. I think somewhat that's related to the fact that, up until maybe we really saw the high adoption, I liken it to voice over IP. We had fiber channels, right? High enterprises had it, very specialized, separate network, right? Why are you going to teach that? But now with the high adoption of iSCSI, right, and all these different technologies and fiber channel over Ethernet, IP standards, you name it, you're going to start to see more convergence. Storage traffic is on the IP network today, right? You're not going to be able to avoid that. And so I think that's really kind of pushed the envelope there. And I'm just going to quickly go over our course that EMC offers. This is a commercial course that we have modified and put into, it's all of our same content in a book format from Wiley. So EMC's IP, but Wiley published it. And the nice thing is primarily technology-based, so it's not pushing EMC at you. It's all based on, what are the concepts and understanding of what is in like a storage area network, what is network attached storage. And then the examples are EMC specific, but that's a very small percentage of the content. It's like saying, here's a concept now, what does it look like? And so the first section of the book is storage systems, and it breaks into these 4 sections, and it covers 16 chapters. So the first section, we think whether you're an experienced professional or an aspiring student, that it would be helpful to you to take this course. Primarily because you may know SAN very well, but you may not know network attached storage or content addressable storage, or you may not know backup and recovery very well. So, and the first 4 chapters of the book, this is introduction. These are all the concepts that are covered in each of the chapters. This is introduction to information storage and management. This is storage environment, so storage system environment. This is data protection RAID. Probably a lot of you cover RAID, but not really in depth in various courses. And this is intelligent storage systems. And then the second section is storage networking technology and virtualization. So what are most companies doing today is that they're consolidating, and obviously through and they're using virtualization. They want a physical smaller footprint, and they want greater flexibility, right? Because obviously what happens is as these data centers, why are people virtualizing their servers? Well, they can't keep just growing these server farms. And they get, right now, if they just have one server running one application, how much do you think they're actually using that server? Do you think it's 80%, 15%? About 12 to 15%, because it's really underutilized. They're not getting the biggest bang for their buck, right? And obviously power is becoming expensive, right? So why are they doing that, right? So there's obviously some really good reasons why they're doing it. They want better return on their investment. And so the chapters that are covered here is direct attached storage and introduction to ISCSI. This is storage area networking. This is network attached storage here. This is content addressable storage. This is IP SAN, and this is storage virtualization. And then the next section is business continuity, right? So as companies, right, we always want to be available. We never want it lost, right? We want to be able to access it. We want to make sure it's secure. So the 4 chapters covered here are introduction to business continuity, backup and recovery, local replication, and remote replication of the data. And then the last section is storage security and management. So obviously everybody wants to make sure their data is secure. And only the people who can have access, and the people who can't don't. I mean, I'm sure we can all relate to all the news articles that come out when data has been compromised or stolen or accessed. And then obviously in the cloud today, right? So a lot of the big concerns is around security for the cloud. And so there's 2 chapters here. This is making sure that your data is secure within the storage infrastructure. And managing it. Yeah, this is managing it, and this is the security. Nope, I got it back. Security and management. Sorry. Okay. In our next release of the book, we'll probably have something on cloud computing. So this course is designed to not only offer content that's steady state, that's not really going to change that much. So until something becomes that, we don't add it to the content. And basically, this is kind of a big slide if anybody's interested, but what it is saying is this is what business and IT is looking for the types of skills that they want people to have, and this is how what you learn in the book actually would support like that. So here, number 5, choose backup topologies and target devices will back up over LAN, SAN, server-based, serverless, NDMP, backup to safe, etc. So we always feel like this is good, like how does it relate back to what industry wants? And then we would say whether someone's going to want to work as a specialized person in storage or not, they should still understand storage. Just like, the network people work with the server people, work with the database people, and if they have that common understanding, it will work better together. This is why, just some of these examples. Some of the schools in our program, so the local one here is Foothill College. Mike Murphy, I don't know if some of you know Mike Murphy. So Mike's been teaching our course, and he's taught it twice now. Moraine Valley, Eric here from the Cassia, did I say that right, Center? They're going to be teaching it. Bill Saycheck, some of you may know, they've taught it at Orange Coast College. And then into some of the other 2-year colleges. It's open to both 4 and 2-year schools. And then if you want to, if this is something you think you want to offer as a content, Then we have an online application that you would complete. You have to identify someone to teach the course. Obviously, we have a 5-day instructor-led training. All this is entirely free to the school, so there's no charge. And we do online synchronous training with an instructor. A lot of people have travel restrictions. If you are local to the Bay Area, we offer training on our commercial classes you can go to for free. They offer at the Santa Clara facility. Those are offered from time to time throughout the year. But there's two ways. We do ask that you pass our certification exam. EMC has a certification that's tied to this course. When we think of a pyramid, EMC has this exam and content at the bottom, and then you go into product track. So the idea is you've got to understand, what the industry is and all the various types, and then you can specialize in the various products. And then what we provide is basically a canned course. We provide all the PowerPoint. I will be raffling at the end of the class, or at the end of the session, copy of the book. But if anybody here is really interested, I'm happy to send you a free copy of the book. And then we also own iOmega. I'll be raffling this too. I have one. I love it. I back up all my files to my computer with it. It's fantastic. Portable, 320 gig hard drive. But so with the book, well, the reason I was going to mention, it's just a student copy. We don't have an instructor edition. So that's what we provide as part of our program. It was nothing to stop somebody from using this without being in our program, but I was going to say, well, why wouldn't you want to be in the program if you're going to use the book, of course. So that's pretty much it. And then what I'm going to be passing out once I get you guys started on the simulator is the Navisphere Simulator for our CLARiiON product line. We provide this to go with the course. PC executable file comes with a lab guide. It walks you through the management of CLARiiON. So right here, so it's very robust. It basically, some of the things that you'll see doing on this would be allows you to for disaster recovery, staging data for online data backup, partitioning storage, all different kinds of things. So that's what the simulator is designed to do. It walks you through it. And I'll give you some time just to play with that. It's really the idea here. I know I taught in elementary school before, but a lot of times the challenge is having some time to look at something, right? So that's kind of what I felt like, giving you that time to just kind of go. It's very straightforward when you open it on the machines here today. And then some other software that's open source that faculty is using with this course, and I have the sample lab to provide from some faculty that are teaching this course today. Is OpenFiler. Have any of you heard of OpenFiler? Some of you may have, you may be familiar with it, right? So it's another, if you're using VMware server, most schools that are teaching virtualization might be using OpenFiler, right? Or FreeNAS to provide the shared storage that they need. So with OpenFiler, you can do NAS and you can do SAN with it. FreeNAS, some of you probably know about FreeNAS, right? For network attached storage, it's another tool I have, again, a sample lab to provide to you. It's really just kind of giving you some resources if you're not familiar with them. And the other one is IOmeter. Are some of you familiar with IOmeter? Well, anyways, it's an IO subsystem measurement and characterization tool. So you can kind of basically use it to measure how well your storage is performing. You can also use, they have a part of the tool allows you to emulate traffic, right? You have to install it on each machine to do that. And I also have a sample lab for that one of the faculty is using. So that's basically it. I just wanted to give you, my idea was not to talk too long, but just give you some time using the simulator. And at the end, I will do the raffle. But I don't know if some of you have questions. I'll pass these out. Basically, all you have to do is on the machines here is to go to this one's already open. But the lab guide, yours is already open. If you go to this folder there, called Navisphere Simulator, the PDF on your desktop is the lab guide. It's 200 pages. All you do is launch the Navisphere Simulator at the very top. And if you open the lab guide, it will walk you through how to use it. It's 200 pages, so we provide it in soft copy so you don't print it out. But instead of giving you too much paper and things to carry, that you can just play around. And then the printouts that I have here actually explain the simulator and talk about what the labs are in the simulator. So I'll just kind of pass this out to you guys, and if you guys have questions or whatever else.
it okay if it's the PDF still on the USB?
Yeah, actually, if you want the full simulator, it's very large. What I can do is give you access to an FTP site where you can download it.
I was thinking purchase the
Yeah, you can take it, yeah. No big deal. All of this is stuff, like, if it's something you want to really, if you really want to, if you, well, at the end I have a little evaluation of my own that I use just to things. If you put your name there and a note of what you want, I'm happy to email you. And the FTP site's the easiest because this thing is like 80 meg. So it's not an easy thing to download unless it's an FTP site. So you have to look at it. You want to get your host fixed with that. So does everyone want to see over here? Here, I'll come over there. I'll just pass out all these resources to you guys, and then if you have, I didn't want to do it ahead of time because I didn't want people to be reading it, because I know if it were me, I would be reading it. Okay, just fill that in. You can just go just put in, if yours has already come out, just fill it in and just activate now. And then when it, just launch that right there. Now double click it. And then you just and then right click and say allow after that. Allow that after. Are you on? Yes. And then just press that. And then this little screen will come and asking you just to fill out information. And you just fill it in, and then you click OK, and then when it comes up, just click OK, like if it says administrator password. So I actually have one pages on each of the open source software that has links on the, I guess I can provide soft copies, but it has all the links to like YouTube videos, other resources, and things like that. And what I gave you is, with this packet is Dr. Teamwork Navisphere, who teaches at the Georgia Southern, has a whole bunch of labs, but I just provided the overview of 2 of his labs. And then I provided the whole overview of all of his labs, and then I provided the 2 that he has on OpenFire and I usually like to do printouts, but I thought at least you walk away with something tangible. I didn't give you this. This is the one page you're on back-to-back on OpenFire and freenet. Look at those, and then here's the one on iOS. This one has the lab table to it. And the lab on this one is from Dr. Rick Holcomb at Purdue University. They teach our course too. I'll come over. Just click OK. Okay, now it's I'll come over there. Do you want to comment on that? I don't think so. Here's someone on the pioneer. Yeah, no worries. Hey, no worries. What you do is you go So we come to the block side, tells you what to do. I walk you through the simulator. And so what you do here is like you have a problem where it's one thing that's probably just solved. You have this one here. Yeah, and then this is to close the exam and like sit on the seat.
No, you're fine.
You're fine. And then the next step is that you can these are the various tasks that you do, like here. And you can open it, and these will show you like if you want to start allocating the partition, like all the hosts. This would be, yeah, this is, I would say like, if I see I would say that this type of course, the students don't have networking and server OS, they'll be way over their heads, this course. Like I mean, they could do it maybe if you have like that exceptional student, but really those are usually we don't tell you the prerequisites, we don't tell you what to call the course, none of that. The main thing is it has to be for academic credit. But, because that's why we give it away for free, there can be continuing education, but it's definitely not for your first time student out of the gate. Because think about it, you have your front end, all your your client host connected to the host, the server. This is the back end piece, right? Of those hosts communicating with the fans or any type of storage network attached, whatnot. So if they don't have that beginning level of knowledge, this could be challenging for them. Well, it may not, or you may have to walk someone who might be more appropriate for it. Okay, so we can and then it's global. Because if you look at the diet, it actually shows you what you're. Oh, that's I may use it. If you go back up, it'll show you. Well, this and this. Yeah, I thought it was like this is better off than another. If you hear the course information storage and management, that it's more about communication, information, yeah, this is more of that. Which is okay. Yeah. It's not going to hurt anything. Yeah. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Yes. Oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, I saw that. I'm coming out here next to meet you. I didn't know I even looked up. Yeah, all nice.
I'll show you. As soon as you walk in the building,